Hey everybody, I'm Nate Savage. This is Savage 5050. I'm here with my uncle, a special guest, Uncle Eman. What's going on, Uncle Eman?
Hey nephew, what's up? What's happening?
Everything good out there?
It's beautiful. It's a beautiful day, man. It's beautiful.
Okay, and you live in Indiana, right?
Right now, yeah, I live in Terre Haute, Indiana.
And you're from Philly.
You know where I'm from now.
Okay. All right. So what brought you out to Indiana, like from Philly?
Well, I was in prison in Pennsylvania, in Philly, and I just kept getting in trouble. And my sisters, and my brothers-in-law, they had this job. You know, they was working for CVS, remodeler. There didn't used to always be a CVS. You know, it used to be Rite Aid and all them other names, but they was working for that company, and they wanted me to get out of Philly. They wanted me to get out of trouble. They didn't want me to kill nobody or nobody to kill me. So they told me to come out there and work this job, which was a great paying job. I wish I had that job now. And so I agreed, and came out here. And when I first came to Indiana, I think I'm not mistaken, I might have been in Indianapolis. I might have been in one of these little small towns or whatever. But when I got there, I had the Timberland boots on with the, you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah,
the
Philly
fitted cap with
style.
the shorts, Philly style dress. And these niggas thought I was a crackhead because they was wearing lugs. I'm just keeping 100. They was wearing lugs and they wasn't dressing like we was, and they wasn't talking like we was. And Philly is one of the fastest cities in America. And I got the Indianapolis, which is supposed to be, big, and it was country. And it was like, I think I came to Indiana in 98. And it was like I was in 1990 again. Everything was sweet. I wasn't living a good lifestyle. I was a criminal. I was robbing, stealing, selling dope. You know what I mean? And I came to Indiana, and Philadelphia was up on that. You know what I mean? You wasn't getting away with too much. I would still get away. I was still making money doing what I was doing. But when I came to Indiana, it was like the 80s. You know what I mean? So I could get away with everything. It was sweet. So I was like, ooh, I don't never want to leave here. This is the promised land. You know what I mean? For a criminal.
And you're basically a career criminal, right?
Most of my life, I've been incarcerated. Yes.
Do you believe in God?
Most definitely. Most definitely.
Was there ever a time when you ever worshiped Satan?
Yeah. I mean, did I bow down and, pray to him like we prayed to Jesus? Like, dear heavenly Satan, or, something like that to that effect. But no, I knew the way. My mom raised me in the church and taught us about God and all of those things. So I knew that God is good and the devil is bad. I knew that, the devil is the God of this world. I knew that, growing up, not necessarily poor, but not having everything that I wanted. I knew that if I switch sides, you know what I mean? Like, if I followed the devil, that he would give me the things of this world.
That's your son-in-law?
Yeah, I just told this little badass I'm doing an interview and he ain't listen.
Did you grow up close to your mother and your father?
Yes, most definitely. I grew, I had good parents. They ain't teach me nothing wrong. All good, the right way. But like I told you earlier, just now, I wanted the things of this world. I wanted to have things.
Who was your father? Do you know your father?
My real father?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know my real father. He was never around. But I
Do you
know
know the
him though.
what's the reason why he wasn't around? Why?
To be honest with you, bro, I don't know. Shit, the same reason why a whole bunch of black fathers ain't around. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, I know that he died when I was young, but when I was a kid, my mom used to take me over there. She used to take me and my brothers and sisters over there. It wasn't their dad, but we used to visit.
If your father was in your life, do you think your life would be any different?
Uh, honestly, I honestly don't believe it would be because I made bad decisions. I had a choice. I knew the right way. There still was a male figure in my life that worked every day and provided for his family and was a child of God. You know what I'm saying? Was a godly man. And I ain't follow none of that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Growing up, would you say your mother, was she angry? An angry woman? This is my grandmother I'm talking about, by the way.
yeah, so watch your mouth, fly. Goddamn it, I can still touch you. I'll be there.
But I'm asking, before me, what was she angry, or was she like a positive woman growing up?
Growing up, she was a hard mom because she grew up in the streets of Philadelphia. You know what I'm saying? She was in Philly and she had to survive. You know what I mean? Not having everything. So she wanted to teach her kids how to be strong and how to go through the storm if they needed to. You know what I'm saying? So she had to do what she had to do. Was she hard on us? Yeah, she was a little hard on us, but she loved us. She loved us with all the love she could give. And that was a lot of love.
Was your mother angry growing up?
What do you mean by angry? Like, angry because of what? That she didn't have a nice home? Because we had that. Angry because what? She didn't have a nice
Did
car because
she
she had
did,
several.
did she used to raise hell all the time?
It depends on what your definition of raising hell is. What I mean by that is, raising hell, like causing drama. No, she wasn't a drama queen. She wasn't, um, she wasn't the type of person that just started trouble. But if you mess with her kids, she gonna finish the trouble. You
Tell
feel
me
me?
a story about how she defended one of y'all before.
Well, I could tell you a story about how she defended your mom before. I was a little kid, but I remember that these girls was trying to jump your mom because um, your mom is mixed and she is pretty light skinned with the curly hair, long hair, and all of that. So the girls on the block was jealous, and I guess the lady across the street said something like, got her family members, so her nieces or whatever, to jump my sister, and my mom wasn't going. She ain't going. You know what I mean? So I seen her get out in the street and box this lady up. It was a big thing. It was probably 40, 50 people outside in a circle. And she was out on the street defending her daughter because you're not going to just, you being a grown woman, you're not just going to get your nieces to come and fight, her kid when her kid didn't do nothing wrong. You know what I mean? For how she looked.
And you think she handled that situation like a professional?
Well, at the time, she wasn't as godly as she had been. You know what I mean? That was early on. I was a little kid at the time. And if you ask me in my opinion, yeah, I think she handled it properly because the type of environment that we was in, and sometimes you got to nip things in the bud because you don't want nobody to run over your kids or take advantage of them or try or think that they can do anything to your family. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes you got to do what you got to do.
Do you think by seeing the way she reacted in situations like that, that basically had an influence on how you handled situations as an adult, right?
Most definitely. It most definitely did. because I ain't gonna take no shit from nobody.
And
And
that's
you know
why,
this.
and that's the reason why you you always was in and out of prison, even as a juvenile, correct?
Yeah, yeah. But
When
that's
did you
not the reason.
when did you start? When was the first time you could remember being arrested? And for what?
Um, I I remember I was about 11 or 12, and I uh, I used to bag at the grocery store, at the supermarket. We used to bag for extra money. You know what I'm saying? We used to make a little
Mhm.
money. We bag for change, and dude laid his coat down way back in the day, triple fat goose, and he had been bragging. This was my friend, was supposedly friend at the time, and he had been bragging. And he pulled some money out his pocket. He had a bank envelope. Now we all 10, 11, 12, 13. You know what I mean? He pulled a bank envelope out, and he had his parents' rent money, like he was holding it for them. So it's about $1,000. And we young. I ain't never seen no $1,000, you know what I mean, out of one of us having it. So we're packing bags, and it was wintertime, and he laid his coat down. He had it in his inside pocket. And he had left to go in the back of the store or wherever he went. And I seen his coat. I went in the inside pocket and took that money and ran off, you know. And it was obvious that I took it. I'm the only one gone now, you know, that he showed the money to. So he had told or whatever, and the police came to my house. Well, we happen to have two houses in the same neighborhood in Logan section of Philadelphia. We had two houses right around the corner from each other, you know that. And I wouldn't go home because I knew that they're gonna come to my house, but they don't know about my other house around the corner. So I went around there, and my little buddy came over, and he was like, "I know you got money. I know you took that money." He said, "The police everywhere looking for you." So I'm scared to death. I ain't never been in trouble. So he's like, "Man, hook me up with some money, you know." So um, I gave him a few dollars. Actually, I gave him half. He was my best friend. Shout out to Raymond Madison. And he said, "Let's go get something to eat." So I went to 12th and Loudon to the Chinese store. And while I'm in the Chinese store, the police pull up, and a little boy jump out the back of they pull me out the Chinese store, and my mom come walking down the street like, "Yeah, that's him. That's him right there." So they search my pockets. They pulling money all out of every pocket because I had separated the 10s and the 20s and the 50s and the 100s. And she was like, "Yeah, that's him. You stole some money." So the police knew. They pulled the money out of my pocket, and I went to jail for the first time, you know. Me and my friend went to jail, even though he didn't do nothing, but he had some of the money too. So that was the first time I got arrested.
How many I know some of these answers already, but you was talking about childhood. You grew up with siblings. How many siblings did you have? I know, but I'm just asking for the people who don't.
I know, well, I grew up with, I got 4 sisters and a brother.
Mm-hmm.
There's 6 of us. Um, you, you know how family is most of the time. You know, one of those family members may have some issues, and you know, the grandma have to take care of the grandbabies. So
Mm-hmm.
I grew up with you too. You know what I mean? Some for a little bit. I grew up with a couple nieces and nephews too, you know. But yeah,
Was
I had
you
it.
was you close to your siblings, and are you still close to them now?
Well, the way my mom raised us is to always love each other and be close to each other and have each other back. So I would say I am. You know, that don't mean that we have to sit down and eat every day and do this and that. But I can always call my nephew and say, "Nephew, I need a couple dollars," and he gonna send it. You know, if he know it's a major need. You know, if he know that is, and also he don't want to see me get in no more trouble, or they don't, my sisters and brothers and whoever it is, because I spent most of my life in prison. I've been in prison several times. So yeah, I would say I'm close to my family.
I was going to talk to you about prison. Now, you said your first time getting in trouble was at 11 years old, but you didn't serve no juvenile time at that time, did you?
Well, not that exact time, but once I got the taste of that money and the people that I started to associate myself with, it was all about $1. You know what I'm saying? It was, and for the most part, excuse me, I only had one brother who was never around, and all girls. So I didn't really want to be in the house with the girls all the time. My siblings was all females, most of all my siblings, cousins, nieces, aunts, it's all mostly females. So
I heard a rumor that your brother, my uncle Raymond, actually was close to the Fresh Prince. Am I right?
Well, my brother used to rap back in the day. My brother, he from most South Philadelphia, that's where his dad is from. And yeah, he used to rap with all them dudes. He was kind of decent back in the day, you know what I'm saying? And yeah, he used to be around.
What is he doing now?
Actually, to be honest with you, he's a ghost right now because I ain't seen him in a minute. I've been trying to call him, and that he has an issue with drugs.
Yeah.
That doesn't take no love away from that I have for him. You know what I'm saying? My brother was my hero back in the day, but I never really got a chance to spend that much time with him because we both know I spent most of the time in prison. But
knowing who he is now, I'm sorry to hear that he was your hero. But let's talk about prison.
Oh, let's go back. Why would you be sorry that he was my hero? I'm talking about when I was a kid. When you were a kid, you looked up to that person in your life. That's like you looked up to me when you thought that this money that I had and these jewelry, and you thought that all that stuff was cool. As a child, you don't know any better,
Well, no, I always knew what you was doing, and I never wanted to be. I never wanted to go down that road, but it was pretty cool. I enjoyed the sneakers. Now, you used to break in people's houses, right? That's like mainly what you do? Most of the crime was like just robbing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
so was it mainly going into people's houses, or was it like robbing people in person?
When I was in Philly, I would straight up rob you on the street. We walk up on a person, whether we have a gun or we act like we got a gun.
Did you mask up? Did you wear a mask?
It wasn't COVID. It wasn't COVID. And we didn't give a fuck. So
because usually they say something like, if you mask up, that means that you're going to rob them. But if somebody rob you unmasked, that means they ready to kill you.
Well, that was the way I was going, because I not necessarily always had a gun, which I carried guns in Philly, but I didn't necessarily always. I was young, so we did a lot of snatching earrings, snatching chains, or we just straight up, what you call it, how would you say it, when you just take it from them, you know what I'm saying? Because
when you was in Philly, majority of your victims, they was black.
They varied. I didn't know, not really. The neighborhood I lived in, it's a lot of blacks, but it's also a lot of Oriental people. And Oriental people, I felt like back then that they wasn't like us. You know what I'm saying? I felt, I was young and ignorant. I felt like they was less than, but they sure wore 24 karat gold. So we would take their jewelry. I would take their jewelry,
I remember you telling me about a story about Kevin Hart, right? you knew Kevin Hart growing up. Tell me about that.
Well, I didn't know him like that. He wasn't my friend. But one day we was going on route, and now going on route in Philly means we gonna go get some money. However, we needed to get it. And a lot of times, after years went on, I didn't need nobody with me. I had built up enough heart to go by myself and do things by myself, because that's what it took. If I wanted to have money, I had to go get some money. And I can't pinpoint the exact what I took from him, but I robbed him. And he wasn't nobody back then. We were kids. He called the cops on me. I got arrested. So there is paperwork. I don't remember what the results of was from him calling the cops on and telling on me, but I do remember he worked in the mall, or I think it was the gallery or the mall, wherever he was working at. And I would go in the stores because we would be boosting too. We'd be stealing and stuff like that. And I would go in the store that he was in, and they would tell me that I couldn't go in the store because of, I wasn't supposed to be around him. Like he had a restraining order or whatever that's called.
You're very familiar with restraining orders.
Excuse me?
I said you're very familiar with restraining orders, right?
No, I'm not. Why would you say that? Actually, I only had a restraining order put on me one time. Well, twice. Him and this female put a restraining order on me while I was locked up.
But the thing is, anybody can put a restraining order on anybody. You don't even have to have no proof. You could just say this person did this, and I'm scared for my life, and the judge will grant it. So just because you have a restraining order, it don't mean anything.
Well, that was just it. What happened is I was locked up. I didn't want to be with the girl at the time. I started talking to somebody else while incarcerated. And then one day they just called me for court. And I'm like, what the hell I'm going to court for? Because I already know my court date. So they said that I'm going to court for a restraining order. So when I get in the courtroom, I'm stunned. I'm like, what did I do to, I didn't put my hands on her. I didn't rob her. I didn't steal from her. I didn't do anything. And she came in the courtroom with my necklace on. At the time, I had a big, nice necklace, Jesus piece. She got my chain on, and I'm like, okay, what did I do? And she continued to say, well, she's afraid for her life, and she's scared of me, and so on and so forth. And
she was black?
No, she was white. And this was when I was in Indiana. And I talked to the judge. I'm like, these accusations isn't true, but I was at the time going to prison anyway, so I didn't really want to fight it and go through all of that. So I just, the judge said, well, just stay away for, I forget how long it was. And I did that, and I got out. I wound up not going to prison that time, and I got on house arrest. So they put the monitor on my leg, and it just so happened I lived a block away. And me and my buddy, we were walking down the street one day, and she's like, Eman, come here. And I'm like, no. So I walked in the middle of the street, I'm trying to walk around, and she's like, I ain't gonna say nothing, and I ain't gonna do nothing, and please, and all of this. And I fell for it like a dummy, and start talking to her again. Well, she never told the police or nothing like that, but I asked her why, and she said that because she was hurt, and
she probably took care of you really good that night, didn't she?
Actually, I'm not gonna I don't know if you want me to say this on camera, but actually we talked for about 5 minutes. I went in her house, my buddy was with me, you know. Shout out to D Block. He was with me, and I sent him to the store for some cigarillos, so some cigars. I sent him to the store, and her son was there, which he was young at the time, and did my thing, you know what I'm saying, and cut out. But that was the last time I had an encounter with her, because you know, I let this person tell him, you know, like tell a lie on me, and you know, in the only thing about Indiana and being where I'm at, a lot of people, like, you know, it could be a snitch right there. And I didn't grow up like this. You know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't never tell on nobody. Ain't no snitch in my blood. Motherfucker snitched on me in Philly. You know, I was selling dope, and John told on me. Let me make sure. Jay, we call him Jay. He's a triplet. The dark one, Jay from Logan, told on Eman. You know what I mean? Like,
He's watching us now. You better be careful.
and he be listen, you're right. But yeah, Jay told on me, man, because he got caught and I didn't, and the police let me go, and I still had to work on me, and I
Did
walked
you
away. I got a
did
block
you
away.
ever did you ever snitch on anybody?
No, no.
We was talking about this the other day, right?
Mm-hmm.
What would
Yeah.
you say? What's a snitch and what's not a snitch?
Well, now that I'm older, because a snitch used to be anything that's talking to the police, anything that's talking to the police. You know what I'm saying? But now that I'm older, I've been in a situation. I was messing with this female and she had a kid, the same female. And I used to drop them off at, you know, walk them to the corner in the morning for the school bus. And it would be parents there, and, you know, sometimes parents wouldn't be there. They might see me standing on the corner with the other kids. So they just let their kids run to the corner. I'm standing out there, kids get on the school bus, you know, and I would do the same thing. Sometimes I might see a couple parents down there. I would just send him out because I only live like 2 houses from the corner. And most days, I, you know, paid attention to what was going on. And for a few days, I was seeing this guy out there in a black truck, pickup truck. I paid no attention to it. You know what I mean? It's a mixed neighborhood. You know, me seeing a white guy there, there's white kids standing out there at the bus stop as well as blacks. And this went on for a few days. Well, this particular day, all the kids, I had sent them down to the school bus, and he come running home. I would happen to have been on the porch. All the kids dispersed from the corner, you know, and I'm like, what's going on? And they're like, this man tried to pull us in the truck. This white guy, he's trying to, well, what I didn't know is every morning he's pulling up in front of the kids, trying to offer them candy and ice cream or whatever it was he was trying to offer them. And I had been noticing that. So when he came running in the house and said, you know, he grabbed a little girl and tried to pull her in the truck, but she snatched away and got away. All the kids got away. So the cops is involved now. They're on the corner. They asking questions. Nobody's seen nothing because I happened to be in the kid, because my house was so close to the corner. All the parents could see that I was standing out there while he get on the school bus. And nobody identified that. You know, the cops are asking, well, you know, these kids at the time, he was 10 or 11, and none of these kids really can't identify what this guy looks like, or, you know, the kind of vehicle it was. They're kids. And hell, I'm telling everything, because you're trying to take a kid. You're trying to do whatever you're trying to do. So yes, I identified him, white male, glasses, long hair, black truck. If I knew the plate number, I would have told him that, you know. But, you know, as far as like, if it doesn't concern me, that means it's none of my business. You know, if somebody's committing a crime and I'm driving by, that has nothing to do with me. But if you try to break into my neighbor's home you know, I gotta call the cops. I feel obligated to call the cops because if you try to break in my house, I would want them to do that while I'm, you know, if we're not home, we have a lot of valuable things in here. Like, should they not call the cops? Should they just look out their window and say, "Oh shit, look what's going on"? But I'm gonna mind my business.
I
No, I don't
always
think
thought
that's
like if you're involved in the criminal act and you're with the person and y'all doing crime together and it just so happened you get caught and you tell on the other person that was with you, that's a snitch. However,
okay.
if you didn't have nothing to do with it and you just happen to see something going on and you tell the cops, that's not snitching. Like
Well,
Takashi 69, you know about him. He a snitch.
I don't really know about him. um, like I told you earlier, when me and Jay had both got a pack together, you know what I mean? And I happened to start shooting dice before I sold any rocks. And I hit the crap game for a whole bunch of money. So I had enough money to pay the man off, you know? So I said, well, we're going to celebrate. I hit the crap game. He was all excited. I said, let's go to Stop and Go. We're going to go get something to eat. I'm going to buy you a cheesesteak. So when we go in to Stop and Go, he serves a crackhead.
Mm-hmm.
And immediately it's a sting operation. Police come running in there, put him on the floor. Now I'm still ordering my food. I got 1,000 crack vials on me, but you know, this is in the 90s. I got on a pair of sweatpants. I got jeans over that. I got some sweatpants over that. I got a hoodie, leather jacket, you know, and all our clothes are baggy back then. And I got 1,000 crack vials on me. The ones like in New Jack City. So I got a Ziploc bag, big as hell, stuffed down in the back of my pants. And the police searched me and a few other guys they had along the wall. Now they immediately put Jay in handcuffs. Me and Jay came to the store together. I was with him. And they searched me and a few other guys and said, get your asses out of here. And I'm like, officer, I'm ordering food in there. He said, I said, get your ass out of here. So we were walking and we get to the next street. I crossed the street. Now I'm on the next block, walking up the street. And because it was a sting operation, they had all kind of cops out there. They had cops and SUVs and, you know, um, I don't know what you call them back then with the dogs in the back, K9 units and all of that out there. This dude, while he's in the police car, he must have said whatever he said to the cops. Well, I hear on a bullhorn, hey, you in the brown leather jacket, stop. Now, I should have ran and got the dope off me. But I never figured that, you know, they would be calling me back because somebody's telling on me. So while I'm walking, and it's like for me and 4 other guys walking, we're all together like, that's crazy what just happened, Jay going to jail. It's like, you in the brown leather jacket, stop. So I turn around and look like, I know he ain't talking to me. I keep walking. And they continue to say it as they're running up on me. When they get up on me and tackle me to the ground, the police officer says, Jay said he ain't going down by himself. What? Are you serious? So I didn't get the dope off me. You know, they caught me with 1,000 vials. This is, I was 18 years old. I had just turned 18. And they gave me 5 years for that.
5 years?
Yeah, but I wound up doing 2.5. Yeah, he snitched on me. You know, to me, yeah, we was in that together, and he snitched on me. You know, and I just made a vow that day, like, you know, I made a vow way before that because I was in the streets, and if you're not gonna be all the way in it, why be in it at all? If you do the crime, if you're doing the crime, then you got to do the time. You take what come with it. There's a lot of shit that comes with being in the streets. So I just never had that in me to tell on nobody, you know? Like, I don't want to die because I ran my mouth. And even if the person won't kill me, I don't want to live with that in my soul that I'm telling on somebody.
Speaking of killing, have anybody ever tried to kill you, or have you ever tried to kill someone?
Um, I think yes, I was involved in both situations because you got to remember I was a robber. You know what I mean? So there's probably people that want to kill me right now. You know, for all the things that I've done, robbing people and stuff like that. Did I? Did I? I'm not going to tell you what I done though. I'm not going to tell you if I ever tried it. No, no, no comment.
Okay. So would you say majority of your life was it in prison or out of prison?
Well, I'm 46 years old, and I've done more than 30 years altogether. Not
It
at
was
one time.
always like what, 5 years, 3 years, 6 months?
No, 5 years, 5 years, 5 years, 3 years. Ain't never no months.
And
Ain't
it,
never no months. I wish it
and,
was some months.
and your story is not that unique. There's a lot of people that go through this.
Yeah, yeah. But the thing is to bounce back from it and not to be that person anymore.
Do
You know
you
what I mean?
mind going to jail, or it's like, is it normal for you, like, or what?
No, it's not. No, I'm not that person that I was anymore. You know, I've been out a year right now. I just
Yeah.
got out of prison actually, and with this COVID going on, people was dying. I was still in there. You know, I was supposed to get out early. I got a letter that I really have right now that says, due to COVID-19, we are not capable to let you go. Like, what the fuck was that? You know, in my life, you know, I'm worried about my family. I'm worried about you. I'm worried about your family. You know what I mean? Like, you know how bad it was in the beginning.
Yeah.
I didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't know if I was going to die in prison. You know what I'm saying? And even before that, you know, being 40 plus, being 40 plus, I learned a lot, you know, learned enough to know that it ain't worth it. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And I wanted to talk to you about, I wanted to get into prison, but what was it like? So you used to break into people's houses when they was there, when they wasn't there. What was that like?
Well, there's been a few situations where actually in Philadelphia, I never done that. That was never the case. You know what I mean? But when I came to Indiana, like I said, and I happened to live in a neighborhood that was really nice, or I seen nicer neighborhoods. So what I did was, I started going into people's homes. You know, I wanted to start doing something different. You know, I wanted to get more money because I felt like I wasn't getting enough. You know, so I went in the house while people wasn't home. And
Did you care if people was home?
yeah, I most definitely cared if people was home. Yes, I
Did
cared.
you have like, okay, if somebody was there, did you have like morals, like where there was certain stuff you wouldn't do? Or if you seen somebody there and they seen you in the house and they call the cops, what are you gonna do?
I'm running. I'm a haul ass. That's what I'm gonna do.
Okay.
You know, there's been situations where I have been in a house though, where people was there. I was messing with this girl and she had a little brother, and he would go to, you know, it was his friend's his school friend, and he would go over his house, and he seen everything that the person had, because I wasn't just gonna go in anybody's house. These wasn't black people houses. I'm sorry, but at the time, you know, in Indianapolis is when I started this. There wasn't, you know, like a lot of rich black people, and he had been going over his friend's house. So he came home one day and I had already had been going in the houses, and he was like, hey, I know where this is. These people have this and that and this and that. So he told me where it was, and I went over there and got in. And when I went in, I went off through the house and got to the parents' room, and there was a safe there. And these people were well off, so I know it was something good in the safe. So I'm trying to break into the safe. And as I'm in the room trying to break in the safe, instead of just picking it up and carrying it, because it was pretty heavy. At the time, someone came through the door on me, and I was right downstairs near the front door. So what I did was I was petrified, actually. I just bust past them and ran out the door, and never got anything because of that. And the girl I'm messing with, little brother, told me that this situation had happened, and now these people, they moved because of it, because this was dangerous. Who happened to come in the house was the little boy. Well, they wasn't little. I mean, they were like 16 and 17 at the time. And I was older, in my early 20s. But they immediately moved, I guess it's obvious he told his mom that, he came home and there's this black man come busting past him, because I knocked him down and ran past him. And by the way, this little boy happened to be, he used to come over, but he didn't recognize me. I wasn't in a mask or nothing, but he didn't recognize me at the time. And when after that happened, they moved. The little boy was not allowed to have any company over his house. So some years went by, and this little guy, the chick I used to mess with, little brother, he came to me one day and said, hey, I know where he lives again. And all I could think about was that safe. What was in that safe? What was in that safe that I didn't ever get? So when he told me this, I planned it out. And mind you, I was older and I didn't want to go to jail. So I planned everything. I wasn't just I was low down, but I put pride in what I was doing, even though it was wrong. And I went back and went in. There was really not too many places I couldn't get in. And when I went in this time, nobody was there. I got all of this stuff. And last time I remember, I didn't get nothing. So what I was doing, every time I got, some stuff, I went out and took it outside and put it in their garage. And the first thing I was looking for was that safe. I know I'm back in the same house. I want that safe. So I got the safe and I took it out. And the deal was that he told me about this lick, so I would get the boys' game system, which was a new game system at the time. And he told me that the boy room was down the basement. He had the whole basement. Now I already had got all the stuff I wanted. So I said, get this stuff for him. So I went down the basement, it's pitch black. And you could see the game system and all these electronics and all this stuff, because they had money. And as I'm unhooking cords and so forth, and I hear a snore sound like, and I look over and the guy's still in the house asleep. So I immediately take off. I just take off, get what I got, and got it. But that had been the only 2 times that someone was home. And I can't believe that. When I sit back and think nowadays about me going into people's homes, I was taking a risk. My life was on the line, and I really didn't care about my life at the time too much.
Did you ever get into a fist fight with anybody? Like breaking in somebody's house?
No. I never got caught. When I got caught, I went to prison. I never got caught.
How much money did you used to make a month or a day when you was at your prime robbing?
Well, that safe, I opened it up. And let's just say I moved to California that day, Santa Barbara. And I lived there for some years, So I did pretty good. And you know, I mean, I know you doing this for the interview and for the cameras, but it was more than 1,000 a day. You know, um, I'm not proud of none of that nowadays, because I I feel like I owe society so much that I would never be able to pay back, you know. I mean, I paid with my life in prison, but I didn't get caught for everything I did. I got away with a lot of bull.
So you stole from people's houses. Did you ever steal from stores as well?
Yeah. I did it all, man. I did a little bit of everything, man. I was a booster. Um, we robbed stores. Um,
When you
yeah, I
say
did a little.
rob stores, did you used to go in there and steal it, or did you go in there like armed robbery?
Well, we've done that too. Yeah, that's what I meant while going in stores. Like, yeah, I was a booster. I stole clothes and jewelry and whatever have you. But there's been times that we went in the store with a gun and made the man empty the cash register. Um, yeah.
So you would consider yourself a gangster?
No. Everybody else would consider me a gangster because I carried a gun, or I done some things that a gangster would do. I shot at people and got shot at, but not today. Not
What
today.
was the
I'm not a gangster.
longest? What was the longest bid you ever did in prison?
Um, 6 years.
Did you ever
6 years.
rob somebody's house and have the cops waiting for you to come out?
Yes, that's the only time I've ever been caught. I went into a place. I happened thinking back. I went into a place and um, usually I'm alone, but I took this girl's mom with me one time because I don't know why. And because I didn't want to use my car. I used hers, and
She was in on it with you, right?
well, she didn't go in. She was sitting in the car, but I think her car got noticed. And as I was in there doing what I do, when I came out, the police was standing outside waiting on me, and I was coming out with arm loads, like, you know,
Did you
TV.
run back in the house?
No, I was caught. They were standing outside with guns drawn, and I was caught red-handed. It was nothing I could say. They gave me 12 years for that. But in Indiana, it was 2 do 1. So that means 12 do 6, half of that.
So you did a lot of time in prison. What is the pros and cons of being in prison?
I don't think there's any pros. There's no pros. It's all bad because you're away from your family. Yeah, I can survive in prison. Yeah, I'm gonna be all right. Like you say, I'm a gangster too. I have that trait in me, but it's not where I want to be, away from my family, away from friends, away from kids. You know, um, you miss the little things, the ice cream cone, um, just to lay back on the bed and watch TV, shitting in peace.
Out of all the money you made throughout your criminal years, do you have anything to show for it today?
No, I got some stories to tell. I've
So
been
what
around
would
the
you
world.
tell like young kids that want to be like little juveniles and stuff like that?
Um, I would just say it ain't the way to go. I would say that you're gonna regret it. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't end up a grown man and not have nothing to show for all of those years. You know, and a lot of people lose their family. You know, I've been in prison, and a lot of people come home and they don't got their mom no more. They ain't got their brothers and sisters no more. You know what I mean? And they lose loved ones while they're in there. They're not necessarily always going to grant you to, you know, go to the funeral or, you know, things like that. And you might lose your life in there. You know what I'm saying? You're not promised to tomorrow. You're not promised the next day. You don't know what a person might be feeling. You don't know how I might feel. You don't know if I lost somebody and I might want to take your life because you looking at me or what have you, you know? So
Time go by so fast, man. I gotta have you on the program again. Would you come on again?
Yeah, I'll come on anytime, man. I mean, next time we can do this again, man.
I want to talk more about your experiences in prison. But we out of time now. I'm trying to keep these interviews under an hour.
Have I been on there that long with you?
Yeah, we've been roughly on that long.
Okay. I appreciate you having me on here, man. But the last thing I'm gonna say before you go is this. For all the young kids out there, don't end up being a nobody. Don't follow your own mind. Don't worry about what these rappers is saying or, you know, what you see the next guy got. You know what I mean? You know, I regret a lot of things. And if I could take it all back and do it all over, a lot of people say they wouldn't, and I probably wouldn't either. But, you know, just missing out on being around my family for all them years, missing out on a lot of things that people experience just being home. And that's it, man. That's it.
We're gonna do a part 2 to this.
Okay.
But other than that, man, I'm gonna have you on again. So anyway, that's it. I'm gonna holler at you in a little bit, all right?
All right, love you, nephew.
All right, cool.